Yeah, we're all good to go. Thank you very much, Anna.
Hello everyone to this event, which is part of the Play UK Russia program. And before we get into today's content, I want to make you aware that today's session will be in English and will be simultaneously translated into Russian. And to select your language, please click on the interpretation button at the bottom right of the screen and choose your language channel. Also, we welcome questions from the audience to our speakers. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to ask your questions, and we will cover as many of those as we can through the event. Today's event is being recorded. And I'm Anna from the Department for International Trade of the British Embassy in Moscow. And I would like to name the organizers and co-organizers of these exciting series of activities. UK, the Game Trade Association in the UK, the Cultural and Education section of the British Embassy in Moscow, and special thanks to the White Knight Media Group. Today we will hear about the Russian games industry from our amazing speakers. And on Thursday, you are welcome to join us for one-to-one meetings arranged by a meet-to-match system. For more information, go to the UK website at uk.org.uk. And I am delighted to be joined today by a brilliant lineup of the speakers. I will try to show it on the screen. And then I will be happy to welcome the first speaker, Neil Semple, Creative Content Lead, DIT London. Neil, are you here with us? You are welcome to start.
Yeah, can you see me on the video? Sorry, I can't see myself, but can anybody else see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, I'll try and share my screen.
Yeah, Anna, you need to stop sharing your screen so that Neil can do that. That would be great, thank you.
Okay.
I'm hoping I can do it. Otherwise, I'll just have to, read my presentation. Can anybody see that? No?
Not yet, Neil. So you've got the green button at the bottom in the middle. If you click share screen, it should work.
Yes, I've done that. And what happens after this? Sorry, I've got my presentation open. So what happens now? Sorry. Perhaps I'll just read it. And,
just try it again, Neil. Just try once more. You've got all the right permissions. I've just checked. We're all good to go.
No, do you not see it? Okay, let me just read it. I'm really sorry about this. But what I'll do is I'll share it with you, Sam, afterwards. It can be circulated rather than try and delay the start of the meeting. So my name's Neil Semple. I'm the Creative Content Lead in the Department for International Trade at HQ in the UK. The Department for International Trade, in case no one knows, we're the UK government department that is responsible for sort of export promotion, inward investment, and we've been busy negotiating trade deals across the world over the past year. We have a global network of staff across almost 120 countries, including Russia, and we've got a DIT network across the UK, and that now includes offices in Edinburgh, Belfast, and Cardiff. So we've got representatives across all of the UK. I'm here really today to talk about our services to exporters, and this is particularly relevant if you're looking to do business with Russia and get support from DIT in the UK. I think it's important first off to know who the staff are in Russia. So in Moscow we've got Ludmila Stepnova, and Anna already is on the screen. And I think we'll probably share your details afterwards in case anybody's got any follow-up about any details about the Russia market. So I'd really like today to talk about some very practical help and support we can give to exporters. So I think the most important thing first off is to say that we launched an export strategy in November 2021, which has got a 12-point strategy to help companies grow their international business. Now, this go through very quickly some of the main aspects of that strategy and the practical support in place. So actually, just before the strategy was launched in September, we launched the Export Support Service. And that's very much going to be our wraparound service where companies can go online and get advice and support on any aspect of exporting. And we've also got a telephone helpline as well. So I'll share the details afterwards where people can actually find that information. We've also got some grant support available to exporters. In England only, we've got the Internationalisation Fund, where companies can apply through their international trade advisors, get match-funded grants between £1,000 and £9,000, unless you're in Cornwall, where there's actually a separate programme in place. So if people are interested in that, contact your ITAs. And again, if you go on great.gov.uk trade, you should be able to find your details of your international trade advisor. We've also launched a pilot UK trade show program. People who have maybe been interacting with DIT in the past will remember the Trade Show Access program. So this new program in part sort of replaces TAP, and it offers government support to help businesses attend or exhibit at overseas trade shows. This is particularly relevant for the games sector. I've been to Gamescom in Cologne each August, where in the past we supported companies to attend. And in March in San Francisco, Game Developers Conference is happening. And I think particularly if you want to interact with companies from Russia, I think Gamescom in Cologne will really be a key event to attend in August. So grants are available for eligible exhibitors, £2,000 in Europe, £4,000 rest of the world. And if you're just attending a show and not exhibiting, which may be more relevant to the game sector now with some shows, the grants are, a little bit smaller, £200 for Europe, £500 rest of the world. There's also export finance available for exporters. I know that companies in the creative sector have not used UK export finance, perhaps compared to companies in manufacturing and goods sectors. But there are a range of products available, including working capital and export insurance support. Another important aspect of the department, people may see it's less relevant to Russia, but I think in terms of people knowing what we're doing with the rest of the world, we've got trade agreements now with the EU plus 70 countries. People will be aware that we've just signed an agreement with Australia, an agreement about to land, hopefully soon, with New Zealand. And we've opened negotiations with India and a block of countries, which is the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, a block of 11 countries, which includes Canada, Mexico, Australia, Japan, other countries in Southeast Asia, and 1 or 2 countries in Latin America as well. And during the course of the year, we'll also enhance existing agreements with Canada, Mexico, and a new deal with the Gulf Cooperation Council. So very busy on the trade negotiation front. But what is relevant for Russia is that as well as the free trade negotiation work, we also do a lot of market access work. So that is like day-to-day, colleagues in the embassy. So in DIT in Moscow, there'll be a DIT team, but there'll also be other colleagues who are will work day to day on market access, and that is very much looking at those really practical issues around intellectual property, around aspects of data, aspects of rules of origin that hinder companies exporting. So as well as the trade promotion work, we do a lot of practical market access work. What I've got in the presentation, again, I'll make this available at the end, is a whole range of key links to the Export Support Service, Internationalization Fund, and all the things I've spoken about today. One other thing that we've also launched in November is the UK Export Academy. People can go on to www.drake.gov.uk campaigns Export Academy, and you'll find details there of learning and capability building opportunities for companies to improve their export capability. So I think I'll leave it there. My email address is neil.semple@trade.gov.uk. So if you want to follow up with me with any aspect of knowing where to get support in DIT, I'm very happy to help. So back to you, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil, for a great description of DIT structure and activities and the way DIT can help companies. And now I'm glad to give the floor to our next speaker, Oleg Nesterenko, Managing Editor of GameWorldObserver.com. Oleg, please, if you're ready to start, the floor is yours.
I think I am, if you can hear me and see me.
Mm-hmm.
You can. Okay, let me share my screen with you if I can hopefully pull it off. Just a sec. So yeah, let me know if it's on. Can you see my slides?
It's on, yes.
Nice. Well, thank you for the brief introduction. My name is Oleg Nesterenko. I'm editor-in-chief at Game World Observer, which is a media outlet for games industry professionals. We also have a sister site that is in Russian language that is called App2Top. And if you guys are thinking about expanding into Russia and are interested in Russia's gaming market, that's an absolutely must-have website for you, except it's in Russian language. But one of the biggest takeaways from my presentation today will be that it's a Russian-speaking market, so you're gonna have to learn the language. And also what's important is that we are part of WN Media Group that is best known for its WN business events for video games industry professionals. And some of our upcoming events include the one in Berlin in February, in Istanbul in April, and in Shanghai in May. But zooming in on Russia's market, so I'll try and cover three parts very quickly, which is the assessment of the market. And again, I will not be talking about the industry of Russia, video games industry and its verticals. I will only be talking about market, which is basically the spending situation in the country. Then I'll just give you some facts about what kind of people are we dealing here in terms of who Russian gamers are. And then I'll briefly zoom in on different platforms, but I'll actually focus on mobile because that's where most data is available. So speaking of the market volume, I would like to cite some estimates by MyGames, and MyGames, I know that Dmitry will be able to comment on those estimates in a little bit more detail sometime later. But so based on their study that they undertook this year, the Russian market will reach 165.6 billion rubles, which is around $2.25 billion this year. And in terms of dynamic, that's only a 1% growth compared to the previous year. But again, if we convert it into rubles, and ruble has been unfortunately declining over the last several months, we can see that the market has even contracted a little bit compared to the last year. But that's predictable, right? So that's in line with the global market based on what Newzoo is seeing, because obviously the previous year, 2020, was great for the market, right? Because of the COVID-19 restrictions, and that's a terrible thing to say that it was great, but it gave the video games economy a huge boost due to the various lockdowns and stay-at-home restrictions. That's just to give you some idea that my game's estimate is pretty accurate as far as we can see, because some alternative estimates that are available from PricewaterhouseCoopers, for example, they also estimate the market to be somewhere along those lines, except Statista. Statista is more optimistic. But still, most analytical firms agree that Russia is somewhere outside the top 10 world's video games economies at around 2.1 or 2.2 billion dollars. Now that's again that relies on this year's study from My Games. We can see that the market has plateaued, and that's very different from the previous year, when, again, in line with the global tendencies, we have seen these incredible boosts of 14 and 35%. And also what's important here is that you can see that free-to-play, well, you can't see, but it's written here, the free-to-play segment remains the largest segment in Russia, accounting for roughly 85% of the market. Now, zooming in on various platforms, what's interesting about Russia's market is that it's supposedly a PC-first market, and that's different from other economies. Now, last year, the PC segment has actually declined around 4%, but still it remains the biggest platform in Russia, while mobile is obviously the fastest growing segment, and whatever growth opportunities exist in Russia, they are, of course, connected with the mobile segment. So, done with that, right? As for Russian gamers, now Newzoo estimates the Russian gamer population to be around 80 million people right now. Again, a huge growth over the last 4 years, up from 65 million in 2018. Now, Google, in its study that they also took this year, they are talking about some growth challenges, but again, that's obvious, because we have reached pretty much the limit, the immediate limit, at least in terms of the size of the gamer population, and whatever further growth is expected, they're going to be challenges. But again, going back to the estimates from My Games, analysts expect next year the situation to normalize and the growth rate to return to double-digit rates. So hopefully, after a period of a relatively calm plateau, the growth will kind of keep up again. As for average age, 35 years would be the average age, and you could see that it's relatively equally split among various age groups. The gender situation is a little bit different from the rest of Europe, because we have only 46% of women, but still, so that's a pretty good ratio. And as far as length of sessions, we can see that 11 hours would be the average average amount of time people play per week. Now, in a study, again, by My Games from 2019, I can cite this data with relative certainty, and that's definitely applicable to right now, because again, that's backed up by some more recent studies. 85% of gamers played mobile games at least once a month. There is a huge overlap with PC gamers. 82% of gamers played PC games. I will not dwell into genres right now. So yeah, basically you can see all the data here right now. Now, a study from YouMoney, and YouMoney would be the Sberbank's payment system. So that's basically the way they see the spending situation. Now, around 65% of Russian gamers spend up to $13 per month. 31% of the gaming population spends up to $65 per month, and so all the other segments you can also see. So that will give you an idea of what kind of spending behavior we can see in Russia. And this is favorite game genres, and that's across all platforms. Let's move on to platforms and specifically to mobile. I'll try to wrap up. As far as mobile, App Annie estimates the market to be at slightly over $1 billion spent this year. And that's so there is a very small growth compared to the previous year, which again is obvious. As far as downloads, 2.63 billion downloads, almost no growth from the previous year. Now you wanna understand that Russia's mobile market is Android first. Android accounts for 68%, and that obviously a huge advantage, I guess, for at least the marketing attribution industry, because on Android, privacy policies are more relaxed than on iOS. And as far as the exact titles, now that relies on the data from analytical firm AppMagic. You could see the top three slides and top three games and top grossing games. And in terms of the genre, you could see the absolute dominance of mid-core games. Not again, maybe something that you could expect. I mean, casual games are there, but mid-core absolutely lead the market. And as far as the brands that dominate top grossing charts, we could see companies such as Nexters or Excelbolt that are Russian, and some other huge players like Playrix or Wargaming. You could at least say that they have Russian roots. And that's important because at least they absolutely lead with their localization. Game and localization is hugely important for Russia. Right. And let's jump to conclusions right away, because as far as PC and console, it's difficult to kind of arrive at a comprehensive picture, and we've already established some high-level estimates on those platforms. So as far as conclusions, the market remains PC first, even though mobile is gaining, and it's the fastest growing segment and absolutely creates the biggest growth opportunities in this economy. As far as mobile, it's an Android first market as well. RPG strategies, action games dominate the market. Free-to-play model leads. Again, Google believes in growth opportunities in Russia despite the slowdown over this year. And one last thing I wanted to again stress is that culturalization is hugely important. As far as Russian gamers, not a lot of people speak a lot of English, despite the impression that you would get from this event. So it's important to localize games culturally and in terms of the language. And one interesting piece of information from one of Russian retailers is that they found that games such as RPGs or other text-heavy genres, so they can see an increase of 500% if translated into Russian, if culturalized. So that'd be the biggest takeaway about the economy. Thank you for your attention. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Thank you. That was me.
Oleg, thank you very much for the very well structured and explicit overview of the Russian market, of the game industry. And it's great to know that the market can turn challenges, COVID challenges, into opportunities. And I hope our audience still can ask you questions in the Q&A or in the chat. I'm ready to pass on to Dmitry Bashankov, Global Business Development Manager from My Games, who will tell us about sales and promoting channels. And Dmitry, are you ready to start?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yes,
hey everyone, Oleg, thanks for the presentation. It was very good, and I'm glad that you used some of our numbers. So for my presentation, I would like to tell a bit more about how to sell and how to promote games in Russia. And basically, I would like to stand with some specifics. Do not want to tell about common things about our stores and payment methods, because Russian market is kind of developed in these terms. We do have access to App Store, we do have access to Google Play, to Steam, Epic Games Store, and so on. So yeah, let's move to the quick introduction about My Games, who we are. So My Games is part of VK X Mail.ru group, which we like to name as Russian Google or Russian Facebook, whatever you want. We at My Games do have 14 internal teams that are working on mobile and PC console games. We do have a publishing hand, we do have investment hand, and we're working on different gaming services as well. And at the moment, My Games has over 14 years of experience working with different genres, with different monetization types, and so on. We do have some really successful projects such as War Robots, Hustle Castle, Warface, and today we're a global company with offices in Moscow, in Amsterdam, in China, in South Korea, etc. So yeah, that's who we are. We do know a little bit about games. We do know a little bit about how to sell and promote them, both in Western and Asian markets and in Russia. As for me, I'm in charge of business development at My Games, and also I'm doing scouting work for MGVC, searching for new businesses. And previously, I've been working at the White Nights Conference at the WN Media Group. I've been working as a game designer and producer in indie game studio, which gave me, an understanding of how to create games and how to basically sell and promote them. A little bit about markets. Oleg already covered everything. So yeah, by our estimation, Russian gaming market is about 2.21 billion, some kinda, and we do have about 80 million players here, which is a significant number, I think. Moving to sales specifics, yeah, as previously mentioned, I would like to be, more or less like Gamescom or White Nights conversation kinda, telling about some insights. Some of them are based on numbers, some of them are based on my experience and my colleagues' experience. So yeah, let's move forward. So first one, when we're talking about Russian market, I would like to suggest, if you're working on PC and console titles, stick to regional pricing, to regional prices. Russian users just got used to it, because when Steam entered the market in 2000s, basically to fight with piracy, they choose a way of making really kind of small prices. And at the moment, Russian Steam prices are about 2x or 3x times lower than in the UK. And you can see Monster Hunter prices compare between regions, and we do see that the Russian pricing is 2.5x lower than in all regions, in the UK, in the US, and so on. And the community is getting really triggered by high prices. For example, recently we had an example with Square Enix that tried to adjust prices in Russia to the global standards, and it caused so big shitstorm in the community, and basically Square Enix received a lot of negative reviews because of this. So if you would like to avoid it, do regional pricing. It's a good thing to do. Second thing is that Russia is not really good with an English language, and to make a successful product in Russian market, you should do localization. Just to reach the wide audience, you just need to do it. Plus, Russian language is the third one in Steam by popularity, just behind English and simplified Chinese. So it will be nice for every developer and publisher to reach the Russian-speaking audience worldwide, not only in Russia. And in terms of spending wisdom, it will be a good thing to do, because it's about 13% of Steam audience at the moment that choose Russian as a core language. And you can see, that based on EF API index, Russia is number 32 out of 35 countries in Europe by English language penetration, which is not good and should be improved, of course, but we're basically where we are. The next thing is that local audience is using local products, which is obvious. We do have here access to Steam and Epic Games Store, but there are also some historical products in Russian markets that are kind of popular, and one of them are our product of My Games. It's My Games Store, and at the moment it do have 13 million MAU and 2 million concurrent users, which is a lot of audience. However, My Games Store is mostly about free-to-play games at the moment. But if you're working on PC premium titles, you can try it as well. It's easy to enter, and it will just give you an access to more audience. The next thing, which is kind of cultural, and I do not know if it's popular in any other region or so popular like it is in Russia. So physical copies resales are really popular here, especially at the console market. What we do have here, we do not have really huge salaries compared to console game prices. So for example, console game price at the moment is about like 5,000 rubles, while the average salary is, let's say, like 50,000 across the country. So it's 10% of a monthly budget of Russian citizen, which basically makes it kind of hard to buy new games. That's why people are reselling it. And if you're a developer and publisher, you're getting your money only once when user buys the game, and you do not have you're not getting any money from resales. In order to additionally monetize it, you can think about DLCs, microtransaction stuff, and so on, or you can simply add some kind of verification code inside. However, the community won't like it. Also, CD Projekt Red showed a great example of how to work with the community. They showed respect, kinda, and they attached the letter to every copy of game sold, that basically telling thanks to everybody that bought the game. And CDPR sales in the Russian market are kind of good. The next thing about Russian market is that piracy is still a trouble, and the most actual number I found was dated in 2017, that 62% of software in Russia has been downloaded illegally. And we're talking about all software like Microsoft packages, like Photoshop and so on. And by my understanding, gaming piracy is even higher. I would say like about 65-70%, because some people are still think that you shouldn't pay for games. There is no there is no way to deal with it. The only thing is to create a great product, to respect your audience, communicate with it, and it will sell your game. Also, there was some nice case studies when pirate copies of the game adjusted the difficulty level, and it was almost impossible to complete the game while it was downloaded illegally. So you might do this thing as well. And also it provides a nice community marketing, I think. Now we're moving to promotion specifics in Russia. In Russia, as far as we're based in Eurasia, we do have something from Europe and something from Asia. We do have access to Facebook, to Instagram, to TikTok, and also we do have our own social networks like China do have with WeChat, for example. And the most popular social network is VK, which currently do have about 72 million daily active users. And if you would like to make connections with Russian users, basically you need to do it through VK. PlayStation doing it, CD Projekt Red doing it, Electronic Arts doing it, Ubisoft, and so on. And guys, they have like hundreds of thousands of people joining their social media accounts in VK. And yeah, that's just the thing you need to do in order to get access to the local audience. Also, we do have Odnoklassniki, a social network here, which is relatively popular as well. But it's mainly for elder audience that is not so interested in gaming, except maybe casino casual games. If you do like to reach social network audience, Russian social network audience, you should use targeting tools. And so here is the name of this tool named MyTarget. Basically, it provides access to all social network users in Russia and the whole VK ecosystem as well. Just the name of the tool will be useful. The next thing is that in Russia, influencers are working better than traditional media if we are talking about B2C media. In last 10 years, only a few media provides valuable PR results, and there are maybe 3 to 5 big names in Russian media landscape, while influencer segment grow really strong. And if you would like to make any kind of PR campaign, so it's basically better to stick with the influencers. And here's another tool with which you can do it, named Donation Alerts, and it provides access to a lot of like 4.7 million streamers, most of which are Russian speaking. The next, and I suppose the last thing about promotion as a Russian market is that your game, if your game has multiplayer or competitive features, just shows them, because we here in Russia do like competitive games. If we will look at top of games, World of Tanks, Counter-Strike, FIFA, Dota 2, all over the top, and people do like them a lot. Also, we have a strong esports community here. You can see about you can see at esports teams that are winning tournaments, and like not most of them, but a lot of them are Russian based or CIS based. So if you have any kind of multiplayer competitive features, show it in your ads, and it will be a good thing to do. And what Oleg already mentioned is that Russia is an Android first country. You should basically take it into account. My numbers are a little bit higher in terms of Android penetration. It's 72.24% compared to 68% that Oleg mentioned, but more or less it's kind of the same. And to conclude everything, 3 steps to succeed in Russia. The first one, localize your game. Second one, set regional pricing. And third one, use local social channels. And yeah, I think the most important part of it is to create a great game, first of all, and it's the most crucial and hard part of it. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope it was insightful and helpful for everybody listening. And if you would like to maybe ask some questions, you can always do it and reach me via email. Thank you.
Dmitry, thank you very much. That was really insightful and helpful, valuable advice and insight on how the market works, how to promote yourself and how to succeed. That's great. Thank you, Dmitry. And also thank you for keeping up into schedule. We are now right on time and ready to pass on to Yulia Gurieva to talk about business in Russia, IP rights, which is also crucially important. Yulia, counsel from Hogan Lovells. Yulia, if you're ready to start, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Dmitry. It was very interesting to hear, and I have a good bridge to jump into legal details. Because you mentioned that there is a huge trouble in Russia related to piracy. So I'm not going to speak only about privacy, but that's really true. And coming to games particularly, there are lots of objects, let's say IP rights can protect effectively, because basically Russian law provides a very good variety of tools, of remedies to protect rights, but it's not that easy to enforce them. First of all, because the one who is enforcing should have sufficient evidences, and this is where Russian law requires, Russian law has very formalistic approach. Like you need everything be very well documented, because as you may know, to enforce IP rights, you would need to go to the local court. And local court will be hearing everything in Russian. It will require translation of every and each evidence you would bring to the court. And basically, Russian courts like to go into very, very details. Like if you are saying that this is created by my company, you need to show who exactly created it and how you acquired the rights. So it may go to particular employees. And when we are talking about software developed by particular employees, it definitely, goes like what I would do, because there were hundreds of people who was working on the product. But still, we just need to keep in mind that this is something required, especially for copyrighted products. Here, the basic advice from any Russian lawyer would be to get everything very, very detailedly documented to the extent possible. I need to say that Russian courts accept affidavits. So if you just don't have everything in documents, but something is in emails and so on and so forth, you still can go to the notary public with the core developer, who would provide his written confirmation that this was done by the team, and we are aware that the team was employed by the developer and so on and so forth. So affidavits are accepted by Russian court. Also, we used to provide courts with evidences like something we get from Web Archive, Wayback Machine of archive.com. Here we can refer to particular products which were published at the particular date and so on and so forth. So this kind of evidence is also accepted by Russian court. And I need to say that with respect to software, to games, there is a simplified procedure of requesting interim measures like blocking certain website and so on. But only one court in Russia do these remedies. It is Moscow Moscow City Court. There is a simplified procedure that you can first apply for the remedy and then apply with a submit the court claim. This procedure actually could be used for any copyrighted products except photographs. So games could be protected through the procedure. But obviously, games are not only copyrighted, copyright protected products. There are lots of other things which combined in a game. Like you will likely have certain trademarks there. And this is actually, sometimes I got questions like why we would need to have trademarks in a game, like certain main things in a game to be registered to the trademark, why we need this. And the answer is really very simple. It's easier to protect trademark in many cases than a copyrighted object, just because when you register a trademark, it's not required to show that you have copyright title unless it's somehow disputed. So here maybe some particular game main objects inside the game could be registered as trademarks and thus get better protection. Also, Russian law protects databases as copyrighted products as well as related rights products. The difference is that copyright protection is provided to any database, actually, particularly the way how the database is structured. And recent court practice showed that actually any database is protected with copyright, but there is also protection granted by the Russian law to databases as related rights objects in case the database required substantial investments or time investment. And here games, almost all games would qualify to such criteria, because definitely, each game has the database. I'm speaking to experts here, so obviously. So here, the Russian law provides additional protection to such databases, and as you may heard, there is a pending court case related to protection of Vkontakte. This is a Russian social network. Vkontakte database against use of the database by Double Data. It's still pending, but there is one conclusion IP court of Russia already expressed, is that such database could qualify as a database for Russian law and thus could be protected. And it looks like they are succeeding in the protection. I wouldn't comment on the case on substance, because it's more related to use of personal data there. But still, the claim itself addressed to the defendant as the use of related rights to the database. So yeah, here we have certain things which other jurisdictions doesn't provide. Also, obviously, all the codes, designs of a game have get their protection under Russian law. And altogether, even patents are also available on the Russian market, but this is not that popular among games industry, just because it's quite complicated to get and really complicated to protect, because in games definitely patents would be related to methods, and methods are a kind of it's not that easy to show that somebody is using your method. But still, as I said, there is a good range of remedies and simplified procedure to protect IP rights in civil court. There are also administrative and criminal proceedings available against such infringements. And I personally dealt with more than 200 criminal cases related to violation of copyrights to software. So I can say that this is something what can work, but requires real expertise to make the wheel, going. Yeah. So my conclusion would be that we have good environment here, but to protect your rights, you really need to invest certain time and find a good expert and work on it, and as a team, not from time to time, but constantly watch for your rights and try to protect it. And I believe it's something workable. Yeah, this was Julia Gorieva. I'm a counsel from Hogan Lovells International Law Firm. I'm a part of IPMT practice of our Moscow office.
Julia, thank you very much for the insightful message, presentation. Legal aspect is definitely something you need to be accurate and attentive with and not taken for granted. And thank you for covering the specifics of the Russian courts and the Russian system. And Yulia, now we are ready to pass on to Pavel Pogorenko and discuss business in Russia, the investment aspect. And Pavel, general partner from Game A. Pavel, if you are ready to start, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Yulia. Hi, everyone. My name is Pavel. It's first of all, it's really glad to see the people from the much bigger and much the funds, much bigger funds, and the funds with the longer and the like the long history on the market. Our fund is new, and so I will share our vision of the market and the investment market today. So let's start the presentation. Okay, let's talk about some opportunities for UK companies to invest in Russia, and talk a little bit about the Russian companies that invest in UK companies. But first of all, I'll share something about who we are. We are the Game A. It's a venture company. It's a new company. It's established in 2021. We are focused on mobile games and primarily casual ones. The geos is CIS, and the check size is starting from 200K till 1 million. So it's seed and pre-seed stage, and we already make deals. It's right now counting. It's 11, And we have a great team of the partners and advisors. It's former Facebook, Google, Playrix, Kefir, Playgendary, Mail.ru, Zeptalab, and other companies' employees. And let's talk a little bit about the Russian game dev. So the Russian game dev show a really stable growth, and I'll just share some numbers as an example. It's about the in-app revenue from the mobile stores for the past 3 years, and you can see how it grows. The downloads is also grows. Ad revenue is also grows, and talking about the other markets, the PC and console ones, they are also grows. I need to clarify that these numbers is excluded the Playrix and even Nexters and some of the really big companies, like the bigger players on the world market, just to show you how it looks like for the middle-sized companies. And so there is some advantage to start the studio in Russia. You have low burn rates, and there is a lot of qualified people who you can work with, and you have ability to hire a significant number of people from the successful companies, because we have a lot of companies in Russia, not only the Russians, but the people from the world top companies. Okay, so hello guys from MyCom, from MGVC, and because I need to share something about you, of course, and you are one of the oldest funds on the market, with the top one of the top active funds, and you made a lot of deals, and this is all information from the that you share on your websites. And I'll just want to say that something about the big consolidations that you already had, and that this is the biggest one, and the strategy for the fund is to invest as a VC, and then to acquire in, as you can see, on the much bigger numbers. So I need to mention, of course, the Gem Capital. Gem Capital is one of the leaders in the industry. The fund investing in PC, console, mobile titles, and mobile companies, and for now it has more than 15 investment deals. And I need to mention one of the most mentioned, maybe, Montfish, Allcat, Wepi, and Deuscraft. Playrix is also very active in the investment, but and you can see the biggest investments, the Nexters and Visor Interactive, which becomes one of the top players on the market, on the mobile market after that investment. And they also have a lot of acqui-hiring type of deals when they do the acquisition and do the investment to the studio to later make it a part of the Playrix family. Okay, so these three big players, like the biggest players on the Russian investment market, they started the activity before the COVID era, and in 2020 we've seen the investment boom. It's like a lot of new Russian companies and funds and VC funds that were created and that started to work and to focus on Russian market, but not only. As you can see, it's Green Grays, Bear Games, Nexters Boost, Magnifier One, Game A. And we've seen a huge activity from Western biggest companies and funds that arrived on our market. It's Supplement, Stillfront, Embracer, Scopely, PlayVenture. I'm not saying that this is the only one company, just I want to highlight some of them, like maybe the most active. Easter Giants is also demonstrate the activity and interest. It's Tencent in Manfish deal where they invested in as the part of the investors. So ByteDance and NetEase is also very active on the market. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the market specific as we see it. The common investment stage is the pre-seed, seed, and round A. And the most of them is the pre-seed and seed stages. Not a lot of round A deals and almost no round B or something like that. Because the strategy, most of the strategies for the funds and companies in Russian market is to invest in the early stages and then merge and make an acquisition. Market size is around 40 to 50 deals a year. The deal size is starting from 500K and up to 5 million for the pre-seed and seed rounds. Of course, there is some deals that have a bigger value, but the most of the cases is like there. The trends that we've seen on the market. Professionals from the top level studios and companies, of course, they see that what's happening right now, the opportunities that they have, and they try to use it. And they start to leave their companies to make their own projects, make their own teams, and they look for investments. And within the next 4-3 years, we will see a big growth in both investments application and the number of closed deals, and so the number of companies that will be created in Russia. We expect also increase of the number of co-investment deals, which we see because we see big interest from the international VC players and not only like VC players, but the bigger international gaming companies that want to invest in Russia, and they try to find the partner for it, and they find in it, and because we think it is like a most efficient strategy on the market. So the next question: do Russian companies invest in UK studios? Yes, you can find some deals. You can find maybe 2 or 3 of them for the past couple of years, and it's not enough, I think. And what we see right now, it's an increase of investment interest from the Russian VCs to the international game dev startups. And so, yes, it's open possibilities for the UK studios as well. That's all. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer it.
Pavel, thank you very much for this structured presentation and covering the investment forecast of the sector, which is very insightful and valuable. and also valuable aspect of the game industry. And one of the key points to succeed is people. And now we're ready to discuss the game education and talent growth together with Oleg Dobrashtan, Chief Talent Officer 101XP, and Ekатерина Cherkezadeh, Director, Universal University, Dean of Scream School. Oleg and Ekатерина, if you are ready to start, please feel free, the floor is yours. Ekатерina, you are the first to speak, right?
Yes, I think so. Thank you so much. Colleagues, I have a question about the language because our presentation in Russian language, is it okay or not?
It's okay because we will have the simultaneous interpretation, so feel free to
Yeah,
speak with
because, yeah, because your colleagues mentioned that it could be in Russian, so that's why. Okay, so да, дорогие друзья, всем привет. Я рада очень коротко поделиться с вами совместно с Олегом нашими размышлениями относительно того, как вообще сейчас происходит образование в геймдеве. Как-то периодически ощущаю себя матерью драконов, потому что понимаю, что 13 лет назад, когда мы начинали первые образовательные программы в области игр в России, нам в основном приходилось объяснять, чем именно вообще эти люди занимаются. И у меня есть ощущение, что до сих пор, вот мы делали исследования, не такой большой объем запросов в Google на русском языке происходит сейчас с точки зрения поиска образовательных программ по сравнению с дизайном, ну, в разы меньше, то есть там в десятки раз меньше, чем, например, UX, UI дизайн или Digital Design Product или и так далее, и так далее. Конечно, разница очень большая до сих пор, и до сих пор приходится объяснять, кто эти люди, чем они занимаются на внешнем периметре. Вот, поэтому я в этом смысле рада буду, наверное, с Олегом вместе просто поделиться теми наблюдениями, которые у нас сейчас есть. И, наверное, для меня самое главное интересное наблюдение заключается в том, что образование в геймдеве сейчас сделало большой круг. То есть сначала это было долго, дорого и сложно этому учиться, и не было понятно, как попасть в индустрию. Потом индустрия заявила о том, что она открыта и очень много инвестировала в образование, очень много специалистов пошли преподавать самостоятельно. Дальше случился большой пузырь онлайн-образования, и онлайн-образование тоже сейчас сделало круг, потому что онлайн-образование, к сожалению, не до конца гарантирует попадание в индустрию. И, в общем, на данный момент, мне кажется, что индустрия сейчас тоже находится в размышлении относительно того, какое именно образование необходимо для того, чтобы качественно и быстро люди попадали в компании. Вот, это, наверное, первое главное такое наблюдение, что сейчас происходит пересборка образовательных систем, и выглядит это так, что есть дети, которых нужно профориентировать в креативной индустрии, в геймдев, и там ты в основном сталкиваешься с сопротивлением взрослых, у которых очень много предубеждений, у родителей очень много предубеждений относительно детей своих и их перспективах в игровой индустрии. Дальше ты попадаешь на уровень бакалавриата, и в бакалавриате ты видишь, что появляются все новые и новые образовательные программы, которые позволяют детям получить свою первую профессию в области геймдева, и здесь все только на старте. У нас программы только открылись в области entertainment, и вот в этом году был первый набор. В Вышке не так давно стартовал бакалавриат, Физтех сейчас подключился, разрабатывает программы для программистов в геймдеве, ну и так далее. То есть это такой большой университет университетский тренд. Ну и дальше, конечно, это вопрос получения профессии мечты, когда ты уже взрослый человек, тебе 23-25, и ты старше, и ты все-таки решил развернуть свою карьерную траекторию и попасть в геймдев. Для этого существует либо программа дополнительного профессионального образования, либо онлайн-образование, и там мы видим, что есть как бы запрос на очень быстрое получение образования, и такое ощущение до сих пор, что люди не всегда готовы вкладываться в собственное образование для того, чтобы попасть в индустрию. Но мы не теряем надежды, оптимизма. В общем, в этом сегменте очень много чего сделать, поработать, раскачать. Ну вот как-то так, наверное, такие основные наблюдения с точки зрения образования. Олег, поделись, пожалуйста, своими размышлениями тоже.
Да.
Да, красивая презентация.
Hello to everyone. Да, я тоже буду говорить на родном. Вот. Я не знаю, видели мою презу, Екатерина, скажи, почему-то у меня... Да, все нормально?
Вижу.
Окей,
Да.
просто, да, окей. Да, я согласен в плане того, что геймдеву сейчас требуется очень быстрое обучение. Я ближе, наверное, к андрогогике, то есть к обучению взрослых, потому что я и преподаватель с опытом 5-летним уже в вышке, где как раз преподавал, в том числе и на менеджменте игровых проектов. Вот, и запросы я все обрабатываю внутри нашей компании, я директор по обучению и развитию 101XP. Пытаюсь подумать, что вложить в спич, чтобы, поскольку времени очень немного. Самое главное, в общем, геймдеву нужно быстрое обучение. Запросов на внешнее обучение, которое находится снаружи геймдева, сейчас не очень много. Изнутри геймдева, если смотреть, запросов на то, чтобы научиться, чтобы попасть потом в геймдев, много. И этих запросов сейчас наконец-то начинает открываться значительное количество по сравнению с предыдущими годами. И ребята вот из ВК делали даже список гигантский просто вузов, в которых описано первичное образование, как раз-таки и бакалавриат, и магистратура. И этот список, насколько я знаю, находится в публичном доступе, поэтому тем, кому это интересно, welcome. Вот, я так с вами же, да, Катя, вроде они делали это, наверное.
Да,
Все, что делается с игровой индустрией вовне, это связано с вами, я так понимаю, в первую очередь, ну, еще и вышка, конечно, да. Вот, и я как человек, который заказывает обучение, могу сказать, что да, основное – это скорость, очень точечные вещи требуются, очень большой запрос на кадры, об этом мы тоже, наверное, чуть-чуть поговорим, и очень важно, что некоторые проекты по обучению, скажем так, протухают, не успев начаться. Вот, так же, как с играми все. То есть приходится обучаться, тут же забывать и учиться новому, и это какой-то бесконечный процесс, и какие-то слишком долгие программы и проекты, они востребованы, если нет никакой базы, конечно же, но в целом, когда идешь в геймдев, надо понимать, что здесь бесконечный цикл обучения, и любой человек, который сюда попадает, он просто обязан учиться, и ничего с этим не поделаешь. Вот. И вряд ли, наверное, можно еще что-то сделать, кроме как не учиться бесконечному объему, который приходит. Вот, так, стоп, я немножко где у нас тут, да, все. Про людей, да, наверное, поговорим.
Да, надо поговорить про людей, потому что, мне кажется, очень важный момент, что еще, это та самая креативная индустрия, которая полностью построена исключительно на правильной коммуникации, вот, и людях.
И на людях.
И на людях.
Екатерина, ты первая. Я всегда второй буду.
Да. Можем пролистать, наверное, дальше презу, потому что я так понимаю, что ты ей руководишь.
Окей, я про людей тогда чуть-чуть расскажу, да. Можем... О чем ты хочешь сейчас рассказать?
Да, мы немножко не успели синхронизироваться. В общем,
да.
Идея основная про людей такая, что мне кажется, что тут вопрос вообще, он делится на две большие части. Это вопрос людей, которые необходимо, что необходимо человеку, чтобы в индустрию попасть. И второй вопрос, что необходимо человеку, чтобы себя развить в индустрии, чтобы сделать карьеру в индустрии, какие в целом есть как бы карьерные и человеческие пути в индустрии, чтобы системно оставаться востребованным и постоянно развиваться. Вот. Поэтому здесь, конечно, вопрос развития талантов, их привлечения и развития стоит перманентно. Вот. Готова тебе
Окей. Хорошо, ну я такой кратенькое овервью сделаю, прям очень-очень мета, любимое слово этого и прошлого года, вот, на рынке. В общем, как я часто говорю, когда меня спрашивают ребята не из геймдева, что, в общем-то, в геймдеве с зарплатами все хорошо, но при этом надо понимать, что люди сюда идут не за зарплату, потому что если ты, хочешь, типа, условно заработать в геймдеве, то это немножко не туда. То есть гигантские организации, не буду их называть, но которые тоже успешно себя там реализуют в IT, там банковская сфера, финтех, маркетплейсы и так далее, там могут и больше платить. И плюшек там, в общем-то, больше. Поэтому геймдев — это в первую очередь про игры, как неудивительно, да. Вот. И, конечно же, зарплаты здесь хорошие, средние, но я бы не стал говорить, что сюда стоит идти прям за бонусами, материальными какими-то выгодами и так далее, потому что даже если хороший инвестор, то рынок настолько волатильный и сложный, что даже если много денег инвестиционных, не факт, что они приведут к позитивному успеху, не потому что будете плохо делать, а потому что, в принципе, игры выстреливают далеко не все. Вот, если что, там в App Store несколько тысяч игр в месяц выходит. А на Steam, ребята могут меня поправить, но несколько сотен в месяц выходит игр тоже. Вот, в общем, средние зарплаты вы видите, я зачитывать их с листа не буду. Они не очень там какие-то гигантские. Надо понимать, что, в общем-то, Россия сейчас еще получается по условиям, опять же, тоже очень агрегирована, является страной, которая с точки зрения комфорта, наверное, проживания и соотношения комфорта проживания и стоимости проживания является одной из самых лучших стран с точки зрения налогообложения, с точки зрения аренды, покупки квартир и так далее. Поэтому далеко не все рвутся там куда-то наружу, простите за мой русский. Вот. И поэтому, собственно, при релокации, конечно, есть вопрос, но люди скорее релоцируются больше не какими-то гигантскими отрядами, а просто, например, кому-то хочется пожить в Европе. Вот. И основные запросы, вот то, что Катя сказала, с точки зрения карьеры, сейчас как раз вышли на первое место. Вот мы брали исследования различные, in-game dev boost job, спасибо ресурсу, и вот мне прислали, они еще не заанонсили, попросили рассказать, но анонс будут делать сами, HR-бро команда, они там 700 человек, насколько я знаю, просили в геймдеве, и вот как раз-таки первично зашло это вот то, что важно для людей, помимо, собственно, там DMS, оборудования и так далее, спортзалов, вот первые 3 в топе, это, собственно, после DMS первые 2, доп. Образование и планирование карьерной траектории внутри компании. То есть вот то, что, Катя, говоришь, карьерное планирование важно, перемещение внутри компании важно, вообще набор людей с точки зрения профпригодности важен, и я, в принципе, вот сейчас, когда меня спрашивают, тоже часто вижу, что очень не хватает именно профориентации. То есть любой работы с профориентационной составляющей и сервисов, которые на это направлены. Вот, если у тебя есть что добавить, welcome.
Да, спасибо. Я еще хотела
Да.
тебе сказать, что у тебя до сих пор висит первый слайд.
Да, очень странно.
На всякий случай хотела тебя об этом предупредить. Вот.
Так, сейчас я попробую
Да,
еще раз.
попробуй, да. Я пока
Демонстрируешь.
добавлю одну важную вещь, что вот у нас мы делали такое ежегодное мероприятие, которое называется Game Day в Scream School, и был интересный круглый стол, который делали HR-ы. И действительно встает вопрос о подготовке еще HR-ов, чтобы они брали на себя функцию, в том числе профориентирования внутри компании и развития карьерных траекторий, потому что не все HR умеют это делать. И сейчас HR навострились и хорошо работают в рекрутменте, но вот как раз развитие специалистов в рамках образовательной системы и в рамках, собственно, своей компании – это отдельный клевый навык, который необходим сейчас HR для развития персонала. Это супер важно.
Абсолютно. А сейчас уже видно то, что...
Сейчас видно автосохранение.
Да что ж такое, а почему так? У меня все видно, я запустил демонстрацию. Друзья мои, не очень знаю почему, сейчас еще раз попробую. Но на самом деле...
Хорошо, ты
так.
видишь.
Анна пишет, что вот сейчас все работает, давайте я еще раз попробую. Вот. А сейчас должен быть слайд условия работы. Так, а сейчас?
Может, у меня в одной просто, друзья, но у меня не видно. У меня видно
К
автосохранение.
сожалению, видно только автосохранение.
Да.
Очень странно. Может, глюки какие-то, зумы. Тут уж извините, я, наверное, ничего не смогу поделать. Но мы можем, если что, поделиться с коллегами.
Ну, таким
Затем,
результатом
да.
исследования,
Вот.
да, мне кажется... вот сейчас видно все. Сейчас
Да,
все.
ой,
Да.
отлично, отлично, отлично. Так. А видно, как презентация в формате
условия
презентации
Да,
или
видно в
формат?
формате презентации, условия работы.
Окей, отлично, отлично. Хорошо, чудесно. Вот, еще важный поинт сейчас, опять же, говорили про там, человеческий капитал, простите за словосочетание, вот, про то, что сейчас внутри индустрии очень сильно востребованы, вот то, что и Катя сказала, коммуникативные навыки и вообще любые софты. И я как соведущий подкаста «Хочу в геймдев», ну, сейчас я уже его не веду, но долго вел достаточно, вот, все, с кем мы общались, включая технических руководителей, говорили в первую очередь, что soft skills, они же там коммуникационно, все, что с этим связано, и другие софт-навыки крайне нужны и важны, и периодически важнее, чем технические. То есть типа почти цитата: технически мы научим, главное, чтобы человек умел общаться. Вот. Поэтому, собственно, топ-позиции и мид-позиции менеджмента внутри геймдева крайне затребованы, востребованы с точки зрения прокачки софт-скиллов. Никаких там неожиданных вещей нет. Топ-3, если он виден, это, соответственно, умение грамотно коммуницировать, из-за чего, собственно, случаются самые большие факапы, простите меня за мой французский. Вот. Умение быть лидером, брать на себя ответственность, вот это все, и critical thinking, критическое мышление, которое тоже вышло сейчас на поверхность, потому что решений приходится принимать много, решения принимаются в условиях дефицита времени, и наша команда, например, в прошлом году даже проходила большой курс по этому поводу. Вот, софт-скиллы важны. Екатерина, если хочешь, добавить что-нибудь.
Да, я, наверное, добавлю, как сейчас происходит формирование образовательных программ для того, чтобы отработать вот все то, о чем сейчас Олег упомянул, потому что на самом деле раньше действительно и до сих пор в большинстве вузов и в большинстве образовательных систем, программ, онлайн-программы так выстроены, они готовят отдельным специализациям, в лучшем случае, или отдельным навыкам, но никогда не могут быть сформированными так, чтобы несколько разных специалистов вместе делали проект или взаимодействовали на учебных проектах, потому что отработка soft skills супер важна, но лет 5-7 назад и до сих пор все онлайн-образование выстроено на том, что там курс геймдизайна, подготовка геймдизайнера, но каким образом дальше геймдизайнеру взаимодействовать с командой, работать с ней, мотивировать ее, давать очень понятные, быстрые вводные, быстро реагировать на внешние изменения, непонятно, да. Отдельная история про программистов. Мы сейчас делаем, ну, на мой взгляд, какой-то уникальный эксперимент для России, потому что у нас сейчас совместная программа с физтехом, где мы взяли их программу по программированию, простите за тавтологию, переделываем ее под программу программирования для геймдева, для того, чтобы программисты для геймдева вместе с художниками и вместе с геймдизайнерами и продюсерами вместе учились делать игры. И там просто происходят какие-то, на мой взгляд, ментальные там сломы ментальных плит для того, чтобы перестроить программу и образовательную систему так, чтобы программисты тусовались не только с программистами на этапе обучения. Это очень-очень сложно, и новые программы и новые программы будущего, они выстроены исключительно на взаимной коммуникации и совместной работе над проектами, потому что именно эти качества являются первостепенными. Вот.
Ну и сейчас в новый тренд же, как положено, модный, это project management, вот, и сейчас проектные менеджеры на волне, поэтому да, в ближайший год-два. Так что те, кто еще думает, куда учиться, можно идти на project. Вот, почти гуманитарная наука. Математику там знать не обязательно. Но в целом, конечно же, лучше знать всегда ее. Вот. И что еще хотел сказать, что, ну, по моему опыту, просто работа с ребятами, это пусть будет капитанский, но это постулат, что люди, которые умеют договариваться, гораздо быстрее и лучше запускают проекты, даже если они не очень сильны в кодинге и математике, вот, потому что они могут договориться, собрать, проработать и так далее. И это не про то, что все бросайте кодировать и учить математику, это про то, что не забывайте качать soft skills, потому что даже если вы условный эксперт, то все равно роль человека все сильнее и сильнее возрастает, и никуда от этого не деться. Вот. И следующее, надеюсь, видно. Мы хотели поговорить про тренды, наши будущие в игровой индустрии. Екатерина, прошу.
Да, на самом деле очень интересно, мое любимое, конечно, заниматься футурологией, но образование в целом занимается футурологией, потому что твой выпускник, он выйдет в индустрию через год или даже через 2, и тебе надо понимать, куда он выйдет, и вместе с индустрией это как-то планировать. Ну, как бы, я думаю, что ты еще много чего прокомментируешь здесь, но здесь есть несколько важных вещей, про которые нужно, во-первых, поговорить. Сейчас происходит перегрев рынка, и совершенно понятно, что рост зарплат, ну и вообще перекупание коллег из компании в компанию, людей из компании в компанию, вот, в какой-то момент, мне кажется, игровая индустрия достигнет тех же договоренностей друг с другом, что делают и большие компании типа Киви, Яндекс и других, когда есть определенные типы специалистов, которых не перекупают друг у друга и которые вместе объединяются под решение какой-либо задачи в той или иной компании, когда это нужно. Вот. Такие команды есть, и я вот наблюдаю, что, мне кажется, через какой-то момент в игровой индустрии такие команды появятся, что если тебе надо какую-то клевую экспертизу, и этот человек сидит в соседней компании, ты не прикупаешь его себе, но зовешь его на проект, и есть такая как бы договоренность между компаниями друг с другом. Вот. При этом существует действительно постоянный дефицит кадров, и индустрия растет и продолжает расти. И здесь, мне кажется, что, конечно, нужно будет вместе с индустрией думать о том, как этот дефицит кадров, ну, в общем, нивелировать. И делать это можно по-разному. Ну, мы мыслим там десятилетними уже циклами, когда мы понимаем, кого мы выпустим через 5 лет, сколько людей пойдет через 5 лет, смотрим там на демографические ямы и так далее. Ну, потому что для университета это не очень большой срок. Но для индустрии, которая так быстро меняется, конечно, очень важно думать о том, какие еще каналы привлечения людей и сторонних специализаций возможны в индустрию. И я всегда здесь хочу напомнить, что мы, например, суперрисующая страна. У нас каждый 5-й ребенок в России ходил в художку, каждый 8-й ходил в музыкальную школу. Вот. И сейчас, например, насколько я знаю, вот Green Grey проводит большое количество огромных конкурсов для того, чтобы привлечь художников, которые до этого никогда не думали про игровую индустрию, и завлечь их именно в сторону игр. И мне кажется, у них очень успешно это получается незадорого, просто на основе всяких конкурсов, да, которые они системно стали проводить. Ну и так далее. То есть есть разные формы привлечения людей. Ну и, наверное, самое главное, что нужно сделать для индустрии, это человекоцентричность, потому что, как мы уже сказали, все зависит от того, насколько комфортно и круто человеку будет, возможно, реализовывать свои таланты в команде, и поэтому, конечно, задача компаний сделать так, чтобы именно в вашей компании человек мог расти, развиваться, чувствовал свою сопричастность и так далее, и так далее. Ну вот, наверное, основные какие-то вещи, которые хочется сказать.
Спасибо. Ну, в общем-то, да, дефицит кадров никуда не девался. Судя по тому, что я слышу и вижу, и в том числе и у нас, он только подрастает. Инвестиции пошли, соответственно, компаний становится все больше. Пока что, во всяком случае. Я не уверен, что не случится там какого-то некоторого последствий, там некоторые, ну не пузыри ни в коем случае, а компании, которые там переинвестировались, они могут куда-нибудь отчалить. Это, в принципе, нормально. Вот появятся новые люди, значит, будет возможно закрыть другие рабочие места. Но в любом случае дефицит кадров вот уже за сколько там, 10 с лишним лет, пока я работаю, он только усиливается и никуда не денется. Вот. То, что я вижу, это что часто в компаниях уже не человека берут под позицию, а готовят позицию под человека, если он более-менее на рынке уже норм. И причем, что в геймдеве, что прикольно, что 3 года это он уже норм, 5 лет это уже фактически там мега-ветеран, который повидал всякое. Вот, и там типа, ну, условно, смотри, вот это там оттуда ушел, давайте его брать. Ну, вот такого рода вещи. А кем брать? Давайте решим по ходу общения. Вот это происходит. Плюс часто меняются траектории внутри команд. То есть человек пришел, например, у нас, у других я тоже слышал примерно похожие вещи. Человек приходит там аналитиком, потом становится маркетинг-менеджером, потом внутри маркетинга начинает трафик закупать или становится брендом. Потом там уходит PM в издательство, и в издательстве начинает там видеть проекты. Ну, то есть это достаточно делается легко, если, ну, у человека, естественно, есть определенные навыки и склонности. Вот. По работе мы тоже всегда тут впереди, мы там все пробуем модели разные, и гибриды, удаленка. С кем общаюсь, знаю, что ключевой поинт – это пока что лучше всего работает свободное посещение офиса, то есть вообще без офиса нехорошо, всех гнать в офис тоже не очень. Вот. Есть там разные края полюсов, но основное вот по центру примерно вот это. Вот, про релокацию я уже говорил, люди, конечно же, ездят и переезжают, и вот тоже из исследований HR Bro, если я правильно помню, у них как раз-таки вот про релокацию сейчас предпочтительнее Европа. Ну вот, с учетом геополитики, я не знаю, что будет предпочтительнее в ближайшие недели, не буду в это все залезать, вот, но в целом пока что так. Европа, потом Америка, потом Китай, потому что все-таки, ну, Китай и Юго-Восточная Азия достаточно закрыты для нас с точки зрения интеграции, у них там свои законы, правила и вообще работа с теми, кто приезжает извне. Вот, ну и про образование в геймдеве под финалочку, Екатерина, прошу. Пожалуйста, я
Да,
потом что-нибудь скажу.
спасибо. Я на самом
Коллеги, я прошу прощения, что я вас
Да.
перебиваю. Если можно
Очень
ускориться
быстро.
немного,
Да.
да, спасибо.
Да, спасибо. Ну, просто тема классная, бесконечно можно говорить, мы очень быстро. Ну, во-первых, мы уже упоминали о том, что очень важно развиваться внутри компании, и компании должны продумывать форматы внутреннего образования для того, чтобы развивать своих сотрудников, развивать коллег и, в общем, формулировать образовательные траектории. Точно мы предполагаем, да, у меня есть отдельный такой удивительный тренд, который я заметила, вообще стали приходить дети после школы, они все хуже знают английский. Я не знаю, что с этим делать, это очень странно, потому что лет 5-7 назад дети за английский знали лучше. Вот, поэтому, конечно, мы предполагаем, что нужно знать языки, и, ну, я думаю, что это даже и странно упоминать сейчас, но важно. Вузы друг с другом будут продолжать коллаборировать для того, чтобы обмениваться экспертизой, становиться лучше. Очень круто, что университеты в России стали взаимодействовать с индустрией, но индустрия в геймдеве суперактивная. Мне кажется, тут все случилось наоборот. Индустрия сама пришла в вузы и стала очень активно пушить университеты для того, чтобы изменить ситуацию и уже чтобы, наконец, университеты выдали им кадры. Это как бы очень важный такой момент. Вот. Мне кажется, очень важно оставить в образовании ту вещь, которая касается просветительской деятельности, потому что до сих пор геймдев, несмотря на все его успехи, несмотря на то, что это самая успешная креативная индустрия в России с точки зрения именно того, что она все сделала на свои личные деньги, без грантов, без государственной поддержки, полностью реализовалась на свои деньги и абсолютно интегрирована в глобальный контекст, при этом до сих пор в России приходится объяснять, что геймдев – это индустрия, которой не стыдно, а даже круто заниматься для широкого круга людей. И мне кажется, что индустрии надо объединиться и, в общем, как-то вместе с университетами системно этим заниматься. До сих пор это наблюдаю, что, конечно, очень интересно. И последний комментарий, что современный человек должен продолжать учиться в течение всей жизни, и геймдев – это индустрия, которая меняется каждый год, и здесь просто, если ты встал на этот путь, то ты должен продолжать это делать, а те люди, которые работают в индустрии, должны понимать, что часть их ответственности – это как раз андрогогическая, которую Олег уже упоминал, это обязательно учить людей и шерить свою экспертизу в вузах, в онлайне, в акселераторах, как угодно, но это часть ответственности любого человека, который заинтересован в развитии индустрии.
Согласен, стажеры, внутреннее обучение крайне важно, и его надо качать, может быть, даже отдельного человека под это, а может и не одного, потому что иначе утекают люди, если они не учатся и не развиваются внутри компаний. Коллаборации с вузом плюс, мы с МФТИ как раз вместе с вами тоже работаем, вот, надо им, кстати, написать, как раз пришло время, и я очень рекомендую качать стажеров, вот, и сразу же рисовать им траектории внутри компании, а не просто набирать их себе в качестве стажеров. Но я еще много чего могу порекомендовать, у нас нет времени. Екатерина, спасибо тебе большое, коллеги, спасибо, что позвали, всем хорошего дня.
Олег, Екатерина, спасибо огромное за ваш вклад. Без образования никуда, не только в игровой индустрии, но и особенно в игровой индустрии. И soft skills наше все. And now I'm very pleased to pass on to Matt Murphy, CEO of Gamba Digital, who will share his experience being a UK company and his UK case in Russia. Matt.
Thanks, Anna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I always feel apologetic to interrupt such a passionate presentation, and congratulations on the translation. It was very impressive indeed to be listening in. So I'm just going to share my screen 1 second. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see everything.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I'll just take a few minutes to talk through our, if you like, our story with Russia, but also to pass on some lessons learned to the UK-based businesses that are online today. I'm Matt Murphy, I'm the CEO of Gamba Digital, and we are a technology-driven, digital-only distribution company. We're trusted by over 100 video games and software developers and publishers to distribute their valuable content across about 200 countries in the world. So we work with publishers and developers large and small, from the AAA powerhouses, the likes of Take-Two and Sony and Bandai Namco, to up-and-coming indie title developers like those you can see on the screen, the brands of which you can see. I know there are a few of them on the session today as well. We've been doing this since 2015, when we spun out of Sony DADC to form the Gamba business, the Gamba Digital business. So we've got a network that we distribute. We use our technology to distribute digital content to, and that network comprises about 300 digital sales channels. It's expanded over the years from PC-focused online digital stores that you may know names like Fanatical and Games Planet, to physical retailers that want to sell digital games like Game and Elko Group in Eastern Europe. Also generic digital retailers like Amazon, streaming platforms like the likes of Blacknut in France and Orange Telecom, and even hardware providers like Samsung and Razer. Our sales reach over about 200 countries, so through this network, and Russia has become one of our top 5 territories for the past 3 years. The Russian market for us started out as an opportunity, if you like. It was the larger publishers that we worked with earlier on originally asked us to handle Russian e-tailers because they liked the fact that our solution was wrapped up in technology and security. And they have like a one-stop shop approach with Gamba, which means that we would handle their royalty collections for them, as well as the distribution of their assets and their keys. And we would liaise with the sales channels and the partners on their behalf. So since then, Russia really has become a strength of ours. And we've built some really trusted partnerships with sales channels that are focused on the Russian gaming market. We now sell several million games a year in Russia, covering multiple genres and across multiple developers and publishers. So over the years, we've spoken to well over 300 content creators. And so we've got a pretty deep understanding of the concerns that you may have if you're a game developer or a publisher when you're considering where to sell your games and in which markets. And we often find that these concerns are heightened when you're looking at emerging games markets or sort of less well-established games markets or less well-known game markets. So maybe Russia might fall into that category for some people. Perhaps you feel that the whole process is a bit time-consuming or it's too risky and you've got to protect your IP. You might not know where to start on that process, so you come onto sessions like this to hopefully get a steer. And also you feel like you might not be in total control, especially if there are language barriers or time zone barriers, localization issues to overcome. And it's your intellectual property. You can feel like it's your baby. You've invested so much time and effort and emotion and money into building your game IP. So you want to make sure that you don't take any unnecessary risks. So what we've done is I've created a few pointers that might help you, the lessons that we've learned from working with our publisher and developer portfolio in the Russian game market over the last few years. I focus more on, if you like, the commercial side of doing business. You've heard a few pointers already that relate to sort of the actual in-game requirements of making a success of the Russian market. So the 6 lessons that we've learned. So I'll go through these individually. So I would say, firstly, use a trusted partner. I would say that, wouldn't I? I mean, whether it's a distribution partner like a Gemba or it's a larger retailer or e-tailer in Russia, if you work with somebody that's established, then it will save you time. It'll give you a bit more reassurance, and it should ensure that you have more successful entry into the Russian market. You can, just pick one partner initially and gradually build up that series of relationships over time. Secondly, Steam. So in PC, Steam allows you to region lock your game keys so they can't be played outside of that region. If you can lock them to Russia to prevent gamers from outside of Russia potentially buying them at what could be a cheaper market price. So this then links into the third point, which is about pricing strategy. And I think it was Dimitri said earlier, he referenced pricing. I do think it's important to have a pricing strategy specifically for Russia. A few years ago, AAA releases were priced significantly lower than, say, the Euro price. Nowadays, that delta's closed slightly, which sort of minimizes the risks of prices being exploited. And when you combine that with the ability to region lock, whichever combination you make, it'll maximize your returns and your success within Russia. But you need to weigh those two things up together because it might be important for you to get maximum levels of adoption or usage for your game or people to buy into a particular franchise. So it very much depends on your individual requirements as how you manage pricing and region locking together. Fourthly, this is really important, try to agree financials up front. It can be very difficult to secure, for example, credit cover for Russian businesses, and certainly from the UK, and with no trading history with you, you might want to consider tighter financial terms initially, such as cash up front for keys or shorter payment terms. just to protect yourself. And then you can relax and review those terms once you've got an established and trusted trading relationship. Alongside that, the exchange rates can also be particularly volatile between the Russian ruble and euros or GBP. So keep an eye on exchange rates, and if possible, try to negotiate payment in sterling, the British pound, or euros as opposed to rubles. If you're getting paid in rubles, you are exposed to the foreign exchange risk, which can work in your favor or against you, but it can be very volatile. So it can make it difficult to forecast what your royalty returns are likely to be. Our Russian retailers actually pay us in euros, and we've got an agreed fixed exchange rate, but we have been working with those partners for a long time, and it's an agreed way of working with those partners. So it's just something to be aware of, to ensure that you get the most success in the early days from the Russian market. Fifthly, and really importantly, make the most of technology to manage your distribution. So if you're transferring thousands of key codes over email or over an FTP server, then you are exposing yourself to greater risk. There are technology solutions and partners that you can use to help you manage your key distribution. After all, the key is the most valuable asset that you've got, the digital valuable asset. So for example, like when we distribute keys, we do that in real time, 1-to-1, one sale equals one key. And it ensures that the key inventory, the stocks that we get from publishers, remain in the Gemba key bank, the two-factor key bank. We also work with keyless solutions. You can work with keyless solutions, the likes of Epic Games and Ubisoft, where no keys are passed on to the retailer, and they're not passed on to the gamer either. So finally, once you're up and selling, the last point is to keep a really close eye on monitoring your sales performance, especially initially, to spot any sales trends that don't appear consistent with your strategy. So as a publisher, you can also view your activation reports on the first-party platforms, which is really useful because then you can identify any problem sales patterns. You can compare the activation to the records of sale, and you can act accordingly with your partners or your distributors. If you do all of those kinds of things, you can make a real success of the Russian market. As we've seen before, it's one of the top 20 gaming markets and is consistently in our top 5 countries. So many publishers, large and small, it's not just the large publishers. I think we touched on the genres that are popular in Russia. They're very broad, and there are lots of independent game developers and publishers that are hugely successful in Russia, as well as the AAA titles. So don't feel that it's just a market that's saved for the largest. It's not. And if you work with the right partners, they can bring access to a very diverse range of gamers. So if you follow those simple guidelines, it's a little short summary of some of the tips that we've picked up over time working with our publishers and our sales channels. You can make the most of the emerging markets and the new markets for you, like Russia. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be time consuming or full of risk if you just manage it appropriately at a pace that you want to do. But if you do that, it can be successful for you. And if you want to know a few more tips there, my contact details, feel free to follow us on social or check us on the website or give me a call. So hopefully that's been useful. Thank you.
Well, Matt, that was definitely useful. Thanks a lot for your contribution, for the input. It's very important to share experience, especially when you already have this experience. Thanks a lot. And we are finally ready Yes, we are finally ready to pass on to the panel discussion, the moderator of which is Alexander Semyonov, editor-in-chief of App to Top. Hi, Alexander. And our panelists are Vyacheslav Utochkin, co-founder, general producer of WikiHouse, Kirill Gursky, games and entertainment leader, Game Capital, and Dmitry Bishankov, global business development manager of My Games. So guys, you feel free to discuss all the key challenges, strengths, and opportunities of the market.
More than that, I guess that because we are the last one, so we have no time limit for now. Am I right?
We have some time, but still we have some time.
No, I mean, we don't have some any time limit. I mean,
we have limit, let's say 15 plus minutes. Will that be right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, guys, also Oleg Nesterenko just told me that we have a really great translators there. So if you want to switch our discussion to Russian, feel free and but let me know, please, someone. Guys.
Hi all, let's turn off our cameras. We can do it ourselves.
Hi guys.
Hi. Hi. So what about the language, the question about language, because as I just have already said, we have a really great translators there, so we can just continue our discussion on Russian if you want, or if you feel yourself free on English, we can just talk on English. Just let me know.
Two options work for me.
Yes, for me too. I speak Russian much better, but I can speak English too. I will speak from the bottom of my heart, as it says.
Okay. Dima, are you with us or you don't? We don't have Dima for now. And Kirill, we don't have Roman with us today.
Unfortunately, Roma got COVID yesterday.
Oh.
From Gem.
Oh, so we are sorry for that. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so I will make a little introduction, not about myself, but about the topic of discussion. And first, I want to point out that we will be speaking about the Russian industry, not the market. So sometimes people confuse those two. So we'll be speaking about the game business that is based in Russia, not the sales in the region, and not the behavior of the local audience. Yep. So just wait a second. Maybe Dmitry will be with us, because we don't have also. Okay, so this is just three of us. So because okay, let's start with the first question and speaking about
3 instead of 5, yeah.
Yeah, about 6, I suppose.
Oh yeah, 3 instead of 6.
Okay, so guys, speaking about the Russia game industry and its company's background, what can you tell about its specifics? In what way they are special? So in what way Russian companies are special, and what distinguishes they have from, I don't know, from British companies or American companies? Go.
Well, I can start, okay?
Okay.
Yes.
I think that the main difference or specific of Russian game industry is that Russian developers are very strong in games which use mathematics, logic, and so on. Historically, the specification of Russian game industry was more mobile games than big narrative games, as it was in USA. And the main specific, I think, that strong in mathematics. As we can see, the biggest game from Russia, from games like from Playrix, from other companies. They're cool in game balance, in monetization, of course, in mathematic model. So I think, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest specific. At the same time, in last year, we saw a great amount of games with great narrative.
No.
which,
It's a question.
It's a question. Yeah.
We have
So-
some other questions about the trends.
So last year this specific was broken, but except last year it was the main specific of Russian market. So,
Real, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I absolutely agree with Slava. Probably the first statement that I want to make is that and I think you guys will absolutely agree with me, is that the games market itself is like a global market, right? So all like the basic global trends like NFTs, metaverse, all these trends are like absolutely applicable also for the Russian market. And if we look at the main differences of Russian market, it's firstly, from my point of view, and Slava also mentioned this fact, is that it's like heavily dominated or currently by mobile companies like Playrix and Nexters and like so on and so forth. That's probably the first like specific currently. And secondly, since our industry is like relatively young, the majority of the companies that we all mentioned are like managed by the founders themselves. Like if you look at Playrix now, there are no like professional CEO. Well, I mean, not the like Buchmans are not professionals. That's not like a man hired by the company. It's the founders themselves. And it's all applicable both for Playrix, for Nexters, for like, well, take any company like
Mytona, G5, and
yeah, all of them. And that's probably like our market is like at the first stage of capital accumulation, if you like use basic like economic theory. So I think
we can name it as a problem, as a challenge, because we don't.
It's it's HR problem, because I'm searching for game producers all last year, and it's very hard to hire a great game producer who have experience in games which earn more than $1 million a month, because when you research who is the producer of that game, it's a founder of this company. He was the producer of this game. It's impossible to hire a founder of the company. So it's really the specific of Russian market and great problem for HR.
Yeah, and
well, that eventually, with the growth of the market, this like current situation will inevitably change. But we'll see.
Okay, yeah, but it's also very important to mention that we have lack of the companies that have console and PC backgrounds at all, because definitely.
And probably, if you like, have a deeper look at this case. Well, I think we'll probably touch upon this question later further in our dialogue.
Okay, guys. The next question is: are there any new trends in the industry that can drastically change the specific of local game development in near future? Maybe we already see something around us for now.
Just one word: NFT. They are around us.
No.
So many companies. I already see a lot of companies from Russia who make great games with NFT. For example, Arcona Metaverse, or maybe Cities Game.
But it's not very serious. It is just guys which trying to use the hype around it. I don't believe in the in any case in future.
Okay, Sensorium. It is not NFT, but this is Metaverse. Sensorium is the game with many long history, and not just guys who make it hype. I believe that the main thing which will change Russian market is crypto and NFT games, and I suggest that many companies will switch focus of their view from mobile and PC games to crypto games. That means browser games, browser plus mobile. We can also see the good case from Azure Games on Russian market, who created the Access Metaverse, and our company changed our strategy this last year to switch focus of our view to crypto and games and metaverse games, and that is the main changer of our industry, I think.
Kirill, what do you think?
Well, firstly, again, absolutely agree with Slava. And Slava mentioned like three main trends. That's like NFT, metaverse, and the change of the market towards these two concepts. What like we see at the market currently, and it's like as I mentioned before, currently the market, the Russian market, is like dominated by mobile companies. It's just historically happened. What we see now is the trend towards like more PC and console development, and we see the trend from both like corporations. Like look at MyTuna and the day before, look at the Neck and Spine, and so on and so forth. I think you guys can also give a number of examples. And from the VC side also, during the last year, we saw like a number of deals in the Russian PC market, and probably the number of the deals was even like higher than the number of the deals in mobile segment. We can mention like Moonfish, like Whippy, Unfrozen, Berezka, and a number of deals. Right, and that's the trend. That happens now. We'll see what will happen in future. In 5 years, in 10 years, will someone manage to create like Russian Ubisoft? We'll see. And probably this trend, I like just finishing the idea. Sorry, this trend is also like how to say it's. Multiplied by the current successes of our companies. Like look at Pathfinder, right?
Yeah.
Guys were nominated for the best RPG at DICE. That's great achievement. A great achievement. Look at Loop Hero, also a number of nominations. So that's the trend that I wanted to mention.
We also call this trend as a indie rise in Russia, because about 5 years ago, then indie apocalypse, am I right? I suppose everyone get it. It was on the West market, but we see this on our Russian, from not market, but from Russian game developers only now, the situation. So I hope that this trend will continue. So, but yeah.
I think that it is the best trend because as a teacher of many students, more than around 1,000 students for the last 7 years studied in our courses, and most of them want to make PC games than mobile games. At the same time, Russian people strong in mobile games, but new employers, new staff, they want to make PC games more than mobile, because they like to play PC games more than mobile, and that is the best trend I ever saw. That so many PC games are made in Russia and have a success on the international market. You heard about them, but I hope that Pathfinder and all cat games will become Russian Obsidian and Russian Larian students.
Yep. So we are
mentioned that Slava has like the what's called Slava, because it was mentioned like in the credentials. Because why you teach students? You're the head of the.
Yeah. I'm the head of educational program, game dev management, and other educational programs in the High School of Economics, and Kirill is with his brother. They are our teachers of investment, and thank you very much, Kirill. For students are happy to study at your course.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we are talking about the rise of indie game development, of PC game development, but how many people at all are involved in games creation and their distribution in Russia? Do you see any, I don't know, research papers or something like that, or maybe you make some research by yourself?
Okay, we made researches by ourselves, but I think I can even share my screen. Just a moment, I will share my screen. Here, I will show it. Here you can see my screen. We made research and created the list of Russian game dev companies. Everyone can
not
use
the number of game dev companies, but the number of people who are involved in this.
Okay, it's the number of people is harder to find out. I think that I think that it is around 3,000 or maybe from 3,000 to 5,000. And as about the companies, there
just
are
3,000 to 5,000.
Maybe even more, yeah. Because when we speak about the companies, we made a research, and there are around 300 companies in Russia who have their website, who have their activity on their social networks and website during the last year. Of course, there are much more indie developers who don't have a website and have several not popular games. There are thousands of them. But when we speak about companies, about 300 companies in Russia. And speaking about people, maybe Kirill can tell about it. And this link you can use. It is on our website. You can see all the companies in Russia who make games. It will be easier to communicate with them when you have a list. I think that's why we did it. It's very long, very big and very long.
Thanks, Slava. Well, basically, it's like hard for me to estimate the total number of employees of all the games companies in Russia. I think it's much harder than the number. It's much the figure itself is greater than you mentioned. It's hard for me like to estimate it directly. Maybe Sasha have some like insights really hard to estimate. Thousands of people.
But at the same time, Sasha, you have this research in you have this research, I know.
Of course I have some numbers, but we have to keep in mind that the biggest company in Russia are just around 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Yeah,
just them.
Really, so yeah.
Yeah, so we have a service, a site service for recruitment. So we have around 20,000 profiles of people, but it just a lot of them are professionals, but who are interested in working there. So I suppose it's much bigger than just a few thousand.
Of course.
Yeah,
This is about the companies, not about the people.
Yeah. But we started to talk about people. But what could you say about the game development community? Would you call it title night, or maybe it is just joined and nobody talks to each other? How it? What qualities the community of Russian game developers are? How it looks, how it works, what I don't know character does it has?
Slava, you want to start, or shall I start?
Maybe you about the characters. Let's change.
Well, from what I see is that the Russian like games industry is, well, first of all, very friendly and extremely connected. And since we have like Sasha, who leads today's today's chair, I would like to say thanks to the Aptotop. And the guys are making like a great job in connecting the industry, in running conferences, and so on and so forth. I can like give my example. We started like investing in industry like 3 years ago in 2019, and when we started this, like the industry accepted us like extremely friendly, and still we're very like glad to be the part of our like games family in the CIS. So that's probably my view on that thing.
I've worked in different spheres of economics. I worked in marketing research as I worked in buildings, and I worked in game development and in education. And I can say that in game development, the community is much more friendly than in other spheres. There are people. There are more, can we say, geeky people in game development community, and for example, when you watch on the men who make games and who earn millions of dollars, and you watch on the men who work as the financial director in the bank, and this and earns not millions of rubles, not dollars, and they are quite different, looks quite different, and more friendly, of course, the men who make games. All the people, most of the people whom I see in the Russian game development community, they have a fire in their eyes. They want to work. They work a lot because they want it. I work a lot because I want a lot. The work gives fun. For me and for many people in game development, for many of my friends, making games even more interesting and exciting than playing games. And I like playing games more, most of all, except making of the games. And that is good. So Russian community is mostly friendly and mostly open to help. For example, sometimes people write me. I don't know these people. They write me, give an advice how to where it's better to go to study, even not to me, but for scholars and so on. And I always help such people just because it's open and friendly, and these people will go to will start making games in the future, and that's cool. So where to find that open and friendly people in Russian community? There are a lot of great conferences. Sasha, you are part of many conferences, as I know, such as White Nights, Talents in Game, and so on. These are great conferences, and it is possible to find the people. But now it's COVID, and not every month we see conference where it is possible offline. There are a lot of online activities where you can find people from Russian community and speak with them. For example, I can also show. For example, we created such random game dev coffee. Thousands of people already had their meetings to each other and communicate to each other in random coffee game dev. This helps to find random man from or woman from Russian game dev and communicate with him. For example, this one, or online festivals. There are a lot of online festivals in Russia. Every month you can, for example, now it is also an online festival, and we can communicate with each other, and that's cool. And every month there are 3 or 5, from 3 to 5 different online festivals where you can meet Russian community and communicate with them. So Russian community of game dev is better than community in other spheres where I worked, and But as I know, all over the world is the same. Was in Czech, their community is also very friendly. So I think that this is so industry.
Okay, thank you, Slav. Yeah.
Probably the reason is that like the global nature of industry. So
Yeah.
the industry itself is global, and like people that want to join the industry, they also like as Slava mentioned, have fire in their
Yeah.
eyes. They are global people themselves. Like they're open for communication. They're ready to work for the companies from different countries. They're ready to travel to different countries, which is not the case, unfortunately, now during the COVID times. But anyway.
So as the part of this big friendly community, if you are watching us and you want to ask something about game dev in Russia, you can write to me, for example, on Facebook or any other social network, and I will help. I think that other.
Thank you.
Yeah. Slava just mentioned that he work a lot. So it is obvious to ask does the Russia game development community face the same problems as that in UK and United States? I mean, crunch, employment treatments, lack of diversity. So do they have the same problems, or maybe we have some really different cases and situations?
I can start with, my thoughts on that. We have like a number of portfolio companies and can see like the challenges that a number of companies face. Since like we are the investors in, like, as I mentioned, in Moonfish and Weepy and so on and so forth, and have, probably the largest portfolio in Eastern Europe currently. And from what I see, and probably Slava will have another view, is that we definitely have like crunch problems. That's the nature. That's the nature of the industry, and we have like some issues with employment terminations. And as for like the issue with race diversity, from my point of view, we just like this case is not that how to say, it's not that difficult for Russian industry. Well, at least currently we don't see like cases that take place in Activision Blizzard and so on and so forth. There wasn't just simply that cases. So that's probably my view on that.
Okay, Slav, what do you think about it?
In our work, in our company, of course, sometimes there are crunches. Of course, I work a lot, but I love it, and that's why that crunches. Even if I have crunches, that make me fun. So I don't think that.
Good to you. Good for you. Yeah.
But of course, it is necessary to have a rest at least 1 week before the release, because after release there will be a crunch anyway. As for the problems such as was in Blizzard, I didn't heard anything about. I didn't see it in my practice, and in companies where I worked, and in our company there are of course no such problems, and I don't think that we will see such problems in the near future. Maybe only small cases. Sometimes it happens, small cases, but not so big.
I just want to add that because of the mobile, because Russian game industry is mobile based, we definitely don't have usually problems with diversity. I mean, sex diversity, because half of the developers of mobile games are usually women. But I know that such situation, I mean, there were some problems in companies that have PC and PC backgrounds, just some development of, I mean, I had stories about few women game designers which were very interested in working in company that make shooters game or just PC strategy game, and they didn't get this opportunity because of their sex. So we have really some sex diversity, problem with sex diversity, but not in mobile development, but sometimes in PC. And it was just about 10 years ago. Maybe now we have really modern companies that are making PC games have really another experience. Okay, and the last question will be about doing business in Russia. I think the question is very simple. So what should British company or American company be ready for making business in Russia? Guys.
Well, okay. First of all, legal questions. I think that this is the main thing you should be ready. For example, if you just open a company in Russia, you will pay around 50% of taxes for your sellers. If you hire a good lawyer and make a company with preferences for IT companies, there are a lot of preferences for IT companies in Russia. So you will pay not 50%, but 20%. And there are a lot of, or for example, if you make mobile game and you buy traffic from Russia, you will pay 20% of VAT. And many other different legal issues in Russia. This is the main thing. Good lawyer company. This is first. Well, the second one is HR problem, because in Russia, trend of, as we talked about trend of last years, a lot of new companies, a great amount of vacancies, open vacancies, which are not closed still, and the salaries became higher. X2 from the several years ago, and so you should prepare for that people will ask for salary growth, and you will have pay much more salaries than you expected. This is the second thing, and the third thing that people, there are a lot of new people working game with fire eyes, as I told in Russia, that's too, and it is not the corporate machine. This is really when you can discuss work during playing table game. You can drink tea or beer, for example, after work, and discuss also work themes. You work on work, and at the same time, when you have rest in company, you sometimes also discuss working themes. In other countries, as I know, it's restricted to discuss work on the rest or so on. But in Russia, it's okay.
Okay, Kirill?
I have nothing like controversial. I do absolutely agree with Sava. Just wanted like to probably develop his ideas more. What we saw on Russian markets during the past year is like the boom of investments, and these like interest from the investors like inevitably leads to the growth of salaries, and the market itself is currently, I can't say that it's overheated, but it's becoming more and more hot, and that definitely leads to the rise of salaries. In any way, from what we currently see, the salaries in Russia are still like lower than in Western Europe, and that's simply due to like the difference in the the
Level
selling
of currency. Mhm.
power, the buying power, the buying power of people, since the prices itself are like lower, and a guy involved in the games industry in Russia can have the lower salary but better life than in West Europe. So that's definitely the case, and probably developing the idea of like laws and so on and so forth. The thing that's probably will be of interest to the games community of the United Kingdom, since that's not the case in the United Kingdom. Many Russian companies, originally Russian companies, are structured not in Russia but like in Cyprus, or also in the UK, or like in other like jurisdictions. And the reason for that is that the laws of other countries, that they protect intellectual properties much better. And there are also other reasons, but I think that case is might be of interest. It's like very usual for Sasha, for Slav, and for me, but for UK guys, it might be like something strange. But like still, it's the case. And the advice here is definitely like to like deep dive in this all law case, and like hire the guys that are proficient at that, and to make decisions like guided by good legal counsel.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And so we just we cover the whole situation around the Russian game industry for now, I suppose.
Well, maybe in the conclusion, I can say that if you have any questions about game dev in Russia, you can write to me in any social network and ask the question. I will try to help you, or will give you the contact of the person who can help you. And if you have games for publishing, you can also write me, or you need money for your company to make the game, you can also write me. In any case, I will be happy to help you. So we are very friendly, right? And let's communicate, and let's make international business.
Yeah. Absolutely the same here. I think that both Sasha and I are also very happy to answer all the questions you have. Just don't hesitate
to ask.
Email, to write in Facebook, well, in any way.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alexander, Vyacheslav, and Kirill, for most lively and exciting discussion of the most relevant issues of today's game industry. That was wonderful to listen to you. It was very interesting for me, and I hope our audience as well. And I hope that we will have a chance to cooperate in the future and to see you on further events. And I would also like to thank all the speakers that we had today for their valuable contribution to today's session. And I am also glad and happy to say thank you to our organizers, to the UK, the Games Trade Associations in the UK, the Cultural and Education section of the British Embassy in Moscow, and the Department for International Trade. And special thanks to the White Knights Media Group. Thank you all for your time, which is so precious today, for spending your time here with us. Thank you all. See you soon, someday.
Thank you.
I would also like to say thanks to British Embassy in Moscow. Thanks to you, Anna. Thanks to all the guys behind the conference. It was really a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.